In this video, I'm showing you how you can solve any marketing or sales problem in less than 5 minutes. I've used this exact 3-step process to help a company scale from 50K a month to 100K a week in less than 3 months and turn 100K in ad spend into $6.2 million in sales on the back end. There's only 3 steps. This is step number 1.
All you need to do is ask yourself an honest question of, is this a math problem or is this a drama problem? Because there's so many times that we will get stuck in a story, in a belief, in an opinion, and we're trying to think our way out of it. And when we do that, we get stuck down this endless cycle of negativity and worry and stress, and we're just stuck in our head and we're like, is it this, is it this, is it this? And then people ask and they go, well, I don't know what the actual problem is. And if we turn our attention to being an actual math problem and we look at the data, then we can see what the actual constraint is that is stopping us from growing. So it's only ever going to be a traffic problem or a conversion problem. Okay, but once we can analyze the data and look at it and see, like, do I need more leads? Do I need better quality leads? Am I getting enough leads, but they're not converting across into paying clients? So if that's the case, I need to look at my conversion mechanism. How am I converting people across to whatever my sales vehicle is? Am I getting them on calls? Am I getting them in DMs? Am I asking them to buy outright? Whatever that is, you look at that and you go, okay, do I need more people to book the calls? Do I need more people to show up? Do I need more people to visit the page? Do I need to change the conversion rate on that page? Like, once we know the data, then simplifying it and finding a solution is very, very straightforward. So this is step 1. Is it a math or a drama problem? As you can see, if it's a drama problem, get out of the drama problem and get into the math, because this here is subjective. The drama is subjective. There's no end to it. The math is objective. It just is. So we can see it, we can detach from it, we can let go of the emotions, and we can be like, okay, cool. This is what the data is showing me, so this is what I'm going to do. Okay, so step 1, is it a math or a drama problem? Step 2, do I have a traffic problem or do I have a conversion problem? And this is where, if you're using school as a platform, it becomes so simple and so crystal clear, because you can look at the 7 days at how many people have visited your about page, and if it's less than 100, you can be like, well, I obviously have a traffic problem because I'm not driving enough people to my page. And you can look at the conversion rate, and if you are driving people to your page but your conversion rate's like 2%, you go, oh, I have a conversion problem. I'm driving a ton of people to the page, but I'm not converting them across. Awesome. I'm going to spend my time, energy, attention, money on my conversions. This is why the data is so, so important. So once you know if you have a traffic or you have a conversion problem, which is step 2, you then solve for that problem. So let's start with traffic. Okay? Traffic becomes, do I need more volume or am I getting enough volume and I need better quality? So by looking at how many people are visiting in the school context, your about page, if it's a different context, you're looking at your landing page in a funnel, whatever it is that you're driving traffic to. Are people opting in for the lead form ad that I'm running? Or do I need more people to get into that lead form and leave their details? Do I need more people to my freebie page? Like, do I need more people to my lead magnet? Do I need more people to DM me? Whatever the event is that you are striving for there, do you need more people to do it? Or are people doing it, but they're not of the right quality? So the people who are opting in and the leads that you're getting are not the people that you want to be speaking to. It's one of those two problems. Which is it? It's highly likely that it's a volume problem, which is very easy to solve. And if it's a quality problem, that's very easy to solve as well, which is fantastic. So that's when we dive into better traffic or more traffic. Okay, so as you can see here, if I need more traffic, if I'm running ads, what I need to do is check the CPMs, which is the cost per 1,000 impressions, so how much we're paying for 1,000 people to see the ads. I need to check how many link clicks I'm getting, what the cost of that link click is, and what my CTRs are. Because when we look at that data, we then know exactly what it is that we need to do. If the CPMs are high, then we need to look at our targeting, and we might need more interest-based and behavior-based targeting, or we might need to look at the ad copy and be like, hey, I need this to be more compelling. If we're looking at link clicks, then that's always going to come down to ad copy. The ad copy needs to then create more curiosity and invite the link click. Where so many people go wrong with ads and their copy is that they give away everything in the goddamn copy, so there's no reason to click the link. The intent of the copy in the ad is to get someone to click and visit the next page. So the only thing that copy needs to focus on is how can I get someone to the next step. People will just throw everything into the ad copy and give it all away. So now it's like, well, I have all the information. I don't really want to act, so I'm not going to go to the next step. Okay, so CPMs are high. It's interest-based targeting or behavior-based targeting that needs to change. And then you look at your, are my creatives compelling enough? Is my copy compelling enough? And if link clicks aren't there in volume, or the cost per link click's too high, then you just need to make the ad copy more compelling and invite a click. You need it to be more curiosity based. Okay, same with the click-through rate. It just comes back to creatives and it comes back to copy. So if you need more volume and you're running ads, they're the things that you need to look at and what you do when you analyze which of them is high. Okay, content. Again, you check the data and you have a look at what am I putting out that's actually getting engagement and is getting clicks. Because the market is telling you what they want more of. And if the content that you're putting out isn't getting any of them, then you need to continue testing like new angles, new framing, new ideas, like big ideas, big ideas to find out what specifically magnetizes your audience and gets them engaged and then gets them to act. And if you're doing outreach, again, you check the data. You check open rates, you check response rate or click rate, depending on if it's an email or if it's a DM. And then you check whatever your close rate is onto getting people to take the next action. Like it's really, really simple. And once you've analyzed that data and you know what it is that you need to do, you do more of it and then you be better at it. Like it's really, really simple. Inside of a specific business, it obviously gets a little bit more complex because context comes in and individualization comes in. But from a 30,000 foot view, you just look at the data and you go, okay, like now I know what I need to do. I know what my problem is. Now I just work on executing the solution for it. Yeah? So the same here when it comes to better traffic. You want to check your messaging to make sure that there's magnetism that's happening, like you're writing to one person with each piece of content that you put out. It's either a current ideal client, a past ideal client, or a current prospect that's an ideal client. And you make sure that am I attracting that person? And in it, am I repelling everyone that isn't that person that I want? Because that is going to create even more magnetism and entanglement. Because by speaking only to that person, you're going to repel everybody else. And by repelling everybody else, you're going to magnetize and attract the other people even stronger. So this is where you can say who it is for and who it's not for. Okay? The people that it's not for are going to be like, sweet, cool. It's not for me. So they're not going to opt in. And the people who it is for are going to see who it's not for and they're going to be like, man, these guys know, like they're not accepting those people. This is for me. And they're calling that out. And then what you want to do is you want to polarize more. So what I mean by that is you want to stand for something. Because if you don't, you're going to fall for anything. So by polarizing people and being like, this is who we are, this is what we believe, this is our branding, this is our messaging, and you speak to that one person, it's going to create that polarity because you're going to stand strong against everything else, which again is going to repel people and repel people you don't want, magnetize people that you do want towards you. It's just layering on top of one another. And then a final thing that you can do if you really want to, is just add a survey. And have a question in there, which is a defining factor of yes, you're allowed to take the next step, or no, you're not. Inside of a school community, if it's free, this is where you have your 3 questions. You just make one of those a question where it's like, I want people to answer this specific way. And because then they have to submit and apply, you can read it and be like, no, not you, not you. And you can then see, is my messaging attracting the right type of person? If you're getting lots of people, where you're like, no, this isn't for you, this isn't for you. You then go back to the messaging that you're doing on the front end in your top of funnel content, and you'll be like, what is it that I'm saying and doing that's attracting this type of person? Because if you solve that, you then solve those people coming and opting in. You don't have to deal with them anymore. Okay, so that's if it's a traffic problem, if it's a quality problem, or if it's a volume problem. If we come over here on the conversion end, okay, we say, is it my VSL or is it like my sales calls, my sale process? Okay? If it's the VSL, it's really, 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 really simple. You just check the data. You look at the watch rate. If people are only watching less than the first 10 seconds, like the majority of people are opting out there, then you need to rework your hook and you need to optimize your hook so that people are captured and they pay attention. And then if they're watching and they're opting out anywhere up to like 65 to 70%, you need to collapse and optimize the time to value because you want them to watch the entirety of the thing. So if they're opting out between that sort of, let's call it 10 to 75% range, you need to do a lot better job of delivering value and connecting with them and using case studies and telling stories and using better copywriting to magnetize them and polarize them and get them on the slippery slide where as soon as they start, they cannot stop watching because it's just so good and it is so for them. And then if they're watching 75% or more, so the majority of people are watching almost all of the video, but they're not taking action, then you need to repackage your offer and your pitch. It's obviously not compelling enough and not strong enough that people are watching everything and hearing it, and then they're not taking action. So that's what you would need to optimize for. If it's like a sales call, so if you're running a free to paid or you have a community where you're looking to get people onto the phone, whether it's a triage call and then a sales call or whether it's a straight sales call, you just need to look at how many people are actually booking, okay, that get to it and that see the booking page, how many people are actually showing up that book, and then analyze your sales calls to see why you may not be converting as many as you could be. So the example here where this metric is so important is there was a company, Property Education, that was stuck at 50K a month. Okay? They had tried doing everything that they could to solve it. They were running ads, they were getting leads in, they were booking calls, but for some reason, they just couldn't move the needle past that 50K a month. They were selling $15,000 coaching packages, and their sales team was closing at like 60%. So they're looking at it, and the sales team saying, "We need more leads. We need more leads. We need more leads. We need like calls booked." And the marketing people are saying, "We need more sales calls booked. We need more sales calls booked. We need more sales calls booked." And that was the conversation that they were always going through. So they bring me in, and I'm looking at the data, and I'm being like, "You guys are getting some really cheap leads, and lots of them." And they're of the right quality because the people that are getting on calls aren't complaining about lead quality. They're saying we want more. I'm looking at the data being like, can you guys see what the actual issue is? And they're like, no, like we don't know what to do because the sales team's doing well and so is the ad team. We just want to try and get more leads into the system, but we get more leads into the system and we're not increasing sales. And I go, yeah, the reason for that is your show up rate is trash. Like people are booking calls, but only 15% of them are showing up to the call. So what if we were to optimize that, keep everything else the same, but let's just spend time seeing if we can just get 30% to show up and then maybe 45%, which would be 3 more people showing up. And by implementing a system that got close to 70% of people who booked a call to show up, their sales exponentially increased. Because think about it, it's a factor of what? A factor of 3 would be 45. So it's a factor of about 4.5, 5 times more people were showing up to the sales calls. And if they're selling 60%, that's an extra 3 sales just from those 5 people who booked a call and showed up. So now we have a massive influx of leads coming into the system and they're scheduling calls and now they're actually showing up. The constraint became we need more salespeople. So they train 2 more salespeople to handle all the calls, and now there is capacity for their system to grow. And that is how they were able to scale from 50K a month to 100K a week, because the constraint in the system, which they couldn't identify, which was the show up rate, allowed them to expand and to create flow in the system again until the next constraint came, which was we need more salespeople. We solved that constraint by training more sales staff and bringing them in. And now it becomes, okay, we need those salespeople to convert at a higher rate. So that's where the time's spent. That is how powerful this system is. And it's the exact system that I went through with them. It's starting and being like, okay, is it a math or a drama problem? Well, for me, it's a math problem. So I come in and I look at the data. Okay, looking at all of the data, is it traffic or is it conversion? I looked at it and I was like, it's not traffic because we're getting great costs on our ads. We're getting lots of leads coming in and they're all high quality leads that are booking calls. Okay, so if they're booking calls, let's look at that. What's happening? They're booking the call. Oh, they're not showing up. Interesting. That's the problem. Cool. So we have a conversion problem. And then I came down and I went, it's at the sales calls level. It wasn't their video sales letter on the VSL page that got people to book a call. That was all fine because people were booking calls. And the closers, their sales team was closing. So the constraint then obviously was checking the show up rate and doing what we could there to optimize it. And just by optimizing it, this is the power of leverage that comes into play. As I said, went from 15% to close to 70%, which is huge when you think about it. Like it's an extra 4.5. What would 5 be? It's almost 5. 75% would have been an extra 5 people. So it's almost 5 more people booking an actual, for 5 more people showing up to an actual sales call that booked it. So that's 5 more opportunities for the sales team to sell. And if they sell at 60%, well, it's close to an extra 3 sales from those 5 show ups, from those 5 sales calls. And if they do that multiple times a week, well, now we're looking at exponential growth, which is what was experienced. So every time that you have a problem inside of the business and you're like, man, this just isn't working as well as I want it to. We're not growing as well as I want it to. We're not flowing as well as I would like to. You ask yourself right now, am I in a math or a drama problem? Many times it's going to be a drama problem and you need to call yourself on it and get out of the subjective thinking and get into the objective analyzing. You go, okay, is it traffic? Is it conversions? Which is it? 9 times out of 10, unless you already have a well-established business, it's going to be a traffic problem. I need more traffic or I need better traffic. But if you have a ton of traffic, you might have a massive email list or you might have a massive following on social media and you've built that, well, you're going to be like, okay, I have a conversion problem. And then depending on that, you look at it and you go, okay, if it's traffic, is it volume or is it quality? 9 times out of 10, it's going to be volume. And if it's conversion based, specifically speaking with communities, is it your VSL and like your sales page? Or is it your sales calls if you're getting people onto calls? That's it. That's the process. So simple. And that's what I mean by you can do this in less than 5 minutes, especially when you get the reps in and it becomes your natural decision-making matrix and framework that you go through. You can start to experience the problem and almost immediately like that be like, oh, it's traffic. Okay, cool. Yep, I need more traffic. Now I'm going to go check the data that matters to me, whether I'm running ads, or I'm doing outreach, or I'm doing organic social content, or if I'm doing a mixture of all of them. It's analyzing those 3 and being like, which one isn't working the way that I want it to right now? Which one's really underperforming? Let me solve that. And by looking at the data, as I said, with the ads, CPMs, link clicks, cost per link click, or CTR, I know exactly what to change. If I'm running content and I'm getting engagements, people aren't clicking, okay, well, how can I get people to click? But if I'm not getting engagement, well, how can I get people engaged? And if I'm doing outreach, I look at the open rates, I look at the click rate, or I look at the lost my train of thought. Or I look at the close rate. So if my open rate's low, how can I get the email or how can I get the DM opened? If they're getting open but I'm not getting responses or clicks, how can I get the response or how can I get the click? And if people are clicking or they're responding but I'm not closing them, how can I better close them? Okay, it's really, really simple. Getting into the specifics of how you actually do it is where some complexities come in, but even then it's really, really simple at the end of the day. So thank you very much for joining me here on Traffic and Conversion Show. If you enjoyed this video, please like the video, subscribe to the channel. Twice a week, we're dropping videos specifically for you to grow your communities and really tap into some explosive and expansive growth tactics. I appreciate you. Thank you very much for being here with me, and thank you very much for being here with us. See you on the next video.